Welcome to 4Zero's Impact Series, where we speak to founders and CEOs who shine a light on the companies out there using technology to solve climate issues and generally doing good things in the world. Today I'm here with Sebastian Berning, who's the CEO of Instagrid. It's a pleasure to have you here today, Sebastian. If you'd like to give us a short introduction.
Yeah, hi Jack, thanks for having me. So we founded Instagrid a couple of years ago to build battery solutions to power off-grid, people working off-grid.
Yeah.
I think what was really intriguing for us is that a lot of people today, they're not working on their desks, but they're working out there in construction, in media, for example, and they need a reliable source of electricity with them. And today, all too often that's based on fossil fuels, and we really wanted to do something about that.
Okay, fantastic. Great. I mean, if you'd like to tell us, the climate issue that you're looking to tackle on a bigger scale at Instagrid.
Yeah, so the issue really is that every year there are, mankind is building about 200 million internal combustion engines. Engines you power with diesel or gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put that into relation, 200 million engines a year, that's about 50% higher than the birth rate. So we're better at making engines than making babies in a sense. And looking at the climate goals, that's horrifying, because we put all these 200 million engines a year into the world, and they need to be fed. They're going to be out there for the next 10, 15 years. So a lot of companies are, and it's very known today, they're looking at road transport. So companies like Tesla, for example. But only about a bit more than half of those engines are on the road. And Instagrid is looking at non-road engines, which is about 50 million engines a year. And we're trying to replace them. The first with something more environmental friendly, namely with batteries. So the first sector that we're looking at is we're trying to replace generators, small generators that are used professionally. So people in construction, for example, they use them to power their equipment.
Okay.
And we found that while in other sectors there is already a solution to go for batteries, to go electric, in this sector there was not really a professional offer in the market. And my co-founder and me, we used to work for a big multinational company before, a lot of experience with batteries and with power tools construction. And we said, let's make the best solution here. Let's re-engineer it from scratch and make the best portable power supply out there, which is really from the ground up engineered, to be used by professionals.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Well, I think you've touched on it slightly there, but if you go into a little bit more detail about, your company's solution to the problem here.
So at first it might look relatively simple. So a lot of people know, we call them like camping generators. So if you go for camping for any leisure activity, you might have a little battery device that outputs the 230 volt or 240 volt that you need for charging your laptop. But if you dig a bit more into that, you see that if you have more professional requirements, for example, it shall be robust, it shall run big equipment like welders, like power cutters, like big saws and so on. There is nothing on the market today. And we were kind of a bit surprised. We dug more into that. And then we said, okay, it doesn't seem to be that simple. So you really need a tech solution for that.
Right.
And that's exactly what we did. We spent the last 3 years after founding the company on building the best portable power station solution in the world. We're really proud of it.
Yeah.
There is a hell of technology inside. It's I think if you want to explain it in one sentence, everyone out there is, I think, building big things, building a big power converter and a big battery together. We're not doing that. We're doing it, we say, the Google approach. So instead of building one big thing, we build loads of small things. So a lot of small battery with converters, and then we put them together, just like Google replaced mainframes with large farms of small off-the-shelf PCs. So the key is inside in the software, and so we have a lot of world-class engineering talent that works together to really make that happen. And I think they did a phenomenal job. So just check out our website. You can see a first product that we released, and we're just ramping up on one side we're ramping up our production and or sales, and on the other side also trying to make that product even better for other applications.
Fantastic. No, thanks for the detailed answer there. I mean, if you could also just elaborate on, your overall mission and vision for your company and Instagrid, maybe where you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years.
So as I said, there is probably more than 1 billion of engines out there, and we really like to show that there is another way to power off-grid applications. And I think the market is, the size of this market is sheer endless. So on one side, we're classically in the Western markets today, and we're expanding in Europe, in the US, and the impact there is really there is a lot of CO2 emitted, greenhouse gases by these devices. But the larger impact in Western markets is really urban air quality. So you have to understand that one of these engines in a generator can produce up to 100 times the emissions of NOx, of carbon monoxide, compared to a modern car. So that's also why it's really compelling for communities to work with us. For example, City of Amsterdam is working closely with us. And a lot more. But what they really like is, they can either get 100 cars off the street, or they can get one generator off the street. And at the same time, it's a big benefit also in terms of worker safety, worker health, to not be around one of these devices the whole day, because you're breathing that, you have the noise, you have the inconvenience of handling them, of refueling them. There is a spilling of oil, of gasoline, when refilling the devices. Yeah. They're generally unreliable. So it seemed to us like there is really no one who really wants to use them, but a lot of people suffering from the status quo. If you look beyond Europe, and I said, it's really a big market where, or Europe and US and, the classical Western markets. What was really interesting for us is that most of the generators, we estimate more than 80%, are not run in the Western markets, but they are run in emerging economies. So we're really looking right now into Nigeria, for example. We're preparing a pilot there, but 20 to 30 million small businesses in Nigeria actually run small generators because they only have grid electricity for a limited time during the day. Interestingly, those small businesses, they spend way more for their electricity, by spending more on their generators than they would spend in Europe. So it's actually, besides having a higher impact because you can, improve the lives of the people, it's also a big economic impact for us, and that's really why we're looking forward to bringing out solutions to these economies.
Yeah.
And if you think about it for a moment, a lot of these emerging economies, they leapfrogged the fixed phone lines, the landlines. And what if they could also leapfrog developing a big centralized grid? So what we're doing is exactly, we're trying to deliver electricity with these batteries from, big PV power producers directly to the businesses. And that's what we find really exciting, and what's driving us right now.
Fantastic. No, thanks for the detailed description there. Where do you think you could see yourself, or maybe where Instagrid would be in the next 3 to 5 years, hopefully?
So in the next 3 to 5 years, I think we are already in Europe. We're already market leader in the professional segment. So we're really, what's driving us right now is the question: how can we, on one side, really get into the megatons of avoided emissions? So really starting to move the needle there. And that is mainly by massive scale. We have to reach more people. We have to expand into more markets, but we are also very careful on who we sell to. So we're not targeting in any way, leisure activities, because we really say it's hard to make a positive impact if you sell to people who use a battery once a year or maybe 3 times a year. We really want to go to, we really want to have all those people who rely in every day work off grid and rely on the battery to be productive to work, because that's where we avoid the most emissions. Also, we want to cater to those people who are maybe using the oldest, most polluting devices today. In the midterm, we really want to be the worldwide market leader, but we really say it's not just the Western economies, but really also the emerging markets. You have to understand these people living in the emerging markets, their standard of life is rising. They are going to consume more energy, and I think we have to now start working with people, also with local teams there, to see how can we avoid rebuilding what we have in Europe today, for example.
Okay, great. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, look, thank you very much. And I think it's amazing what you guys are doing, and hopefully, we can have you on as a guest in the future series, reflect on this time and look at the progress you've made and the impact that you've had. So thanks so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you here today. And yes, I wish you guys the best of success in the future.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.